The media has an enormous effect on how we see the world, and it also flows on so quickly that we don't often actually have a chance to stop it and look at it more carefully. And through rephotographing images that appear in the media, whether it's television or press, it's a chance to actually stop and actually take a closer look at what's being shown to us, what's going on around us. This image is actually a colour photocopy onto acetate from the front pages of a newspaper, and it shows the faces of people called Boy A and Boy B, which was how they were described in the newspapers at the time. They're actually the two boys that were sent to trial for the murder of a 3-year-old called James Bolger. What happened was that they were in a shopping mall and they took this 3-year-old who had been wandered off from his mother and took him from the shopping mall and actually took him up to a railroad and killed him. And it was a news story that was syndicated around the world, which was of interest to me, apart from the fact that it was a horrific story. The fact that it was syndicated around the world made me start thinking about not just the nature of the story specifically, but the nature of the media and how it feeds us quite tragic instances of horror that we actually can't do very much about. And it got me interested in what is the effect on us of being bombarded by this kind of information. To have it in an art gallery context was quite important, I guess, because rather than having something that you just throw away with yesterday's newspapers, I wanted to pull it out from this flowing noise of stories. I mean, this thing isn't unique in time. I mean, things like this happened before and they'll happen again. But I wanted, as one example, to pull it out, and especially the actual appearance of the object. I mean, the colours of it, and it looked quite nice and attractive when on a light box. I wanted to suggest some of the things that quite interest me about the processes in which we live. Some of the best skilled artists, the best equipment is available for advertising and television programs and newspapers, and in effect we're surrounded by high art gloss. I mean, it's very beautiful what we can see, just as this image on the surface is very beautiful with a horror underneath. And I think for me it's a metaphor for a general view of the media. It may look very attractive, it may be all very appealing, the best bands, the best music, but what's underneath the gloss? And I think then Boy A and Boy B become a symbol for what may be underneath the gloss. The Charles and Di picture comes from another exhibition called Headlines, and that was all rephotographed images of people either looking quite passive or quite anguished. And in this case, I thought there was a kind of interesting ambiguity because they've actually suffered from the media, and I'm sure the media has actually affected their relationship. So in the exhibition, they were sort of screaming out at the media, but they've also have a relationship where they could be sort of shouting at each other, and I quite like that relationship between the two images. I think when you take a photograph, you do have to ask yourself why, because there's millions of photographs being made every day. So maybe we've got enough photographs, and maybe we should start looking at the ones we've got.